Hello and welcome to this very special discussion today, hosted in partnership with Aluminium Bahrain. I'm Ramia Faraj. The GCC is home to key primary aluminum producers with more than 6 million metric tons per annum, representing about 10% of total world production. Alba was the first aluminum smelter established in the Gulf back in 1971. As a key economic driver for the Gulf region, aluminum exports represent more than 50% of non-oil exports in Bahrain. Today, Forbes Middle East, in partnership with Alba, brings together industry leaders who will discuss the recent developments in the aluminum industry leading to the region's economic diversification and the obstacles they had to overcome. We have got an amazing panel of industry experts today who will help us understand how GCC aluminum smelters are reaching their ESG goals and how aluminum is revolutionizing the real estate and construction sectors. It's my pleasure to introduce Mr. Agnello Boram, Chief Operating Officer, Sohar Aluminum; Adel Abubakar, Chief Marketing Officer, Emirates Global Aluminum; Ali Abdel Mohsen, Executive Manager, Quality Control and PPNC, Garmco; and Ali Al-Bakali, Chief Executive Officer of Aluminium Bahrain. Welcome and thank you so much for being with us today. Now, I'd like to start by asking Mr. Boram, how can aluminum smelters really contribute towards the diversification and the expansion of the economy while also contributing towards sustainable development?
You know, for all the smelters, we need to be committed on ESG roadmap. On the environmental side, we need to focus really on CO2 reduction. And what we have seen is really big investments on renewables. It's photovoltaic energy or hydrogen or wind. And the fact that we're here in the Gulf, we have a lot of availability is something that we need to use, and we need to start to really approach more and more. We also need to work on the PFCs, perfluorocarbons emissions, which is also coming from the smelters, and it's also possible with the technology available today. We also need to be energy efficient. We need to reduce our energy consumption to the minimum as possible and be efficient in our process. Also, we would like to focus on the waste management. We do have our strategy on reduce, recycle, or reuse. And as a good example, here in Sohar, we recycle 100% of our SPL, spent pot line, which we generate in our process. On the social, we need to focus on working conditions. And more and more, we need to have our human rights policy aligned with our country's vision. In here, Sohar, we are proud that we have basically 65% of in-country value, excluding, of course, strategic raw materials, as part of our involvement in the development of the society and also the local economy. On the governance, we have the transparency and the fulfillment of its moral responsibilities. And this is a really effective risk management tool that we need to implement. Here in Sohar, we also apply, and I believe all the smelters, they should be focused on best practices and a performance-driven culture towards continuous improvement of business. We are now in a process, we are already a member, but we are in the process to get certification of ASI, Aluminium Stewardship Initiative, but also making sure that we keep our other certification to make sure that the systems will be really driving the outcomes for the business.
Really great efforts you are making at Sohar. Now, Mr. Abubakar, could you highlight how EGA has developed its own aluminum smelting technology that has really been utilized in every smelter expansion, and also tell us how your technology helped you to become cost-effective, environmentally responsible, and efficient as well?
Good morning, Rami. Thank you for having me as well. At EGA, it's been a long road, really focused on innovation and continuous improvement, being really foundations of our global competitiveness and what we've really put into practice for many decades. As you know, EGA has developed its own smelting technology for more than 25 years now, progressively improving on the efficiency of the process. Our latest technology, for example, uses 37.5% less energy to produce each ton of aluminum compared to technology we started with back in the 80s. For us, it's both commercially and sort of environmentally imperative to reduce the amount of power we need for the smelting process. More efficient smelting technology will lower our costs, but also reduce our emissions as well. All of our reduction cells at EGA use our own smelting technology. And as you know, in 2016, we exported this technology to Aluminium Bahrain Alba, the first for UAE industrial company. It was a commercial deal to support Alba to implement this technology at their potline 6. I will let Alba comment in terms of how this technology has been performing, but we are ourselves pleased with the outcome. Coming to your second part of your question on the sustainability side, for us, obviously, sustainability is a broader topic, more than just GHG or greenhouse gas emissions. We have become an active member of the Aluminum Stewardship Initiative, ASI, which brings together aluminum producers, end users, civil society, really the public in a consultation to determine what is good and for the performance of the industry in all aspects of ESG, environmental, social, governance. We were one of the first companies to join this ASI initiative, and we were one of the first to be certified as well in the Middle East. We were certified in 2019 and recertified last year with zero non-conformities, happy to say that. And we have a goal to produce only ASI certified metal by 2030, which means certifying all of our sites, including our refinery and our bauxite mine and our supply chain.
Wonderful sustainability efforts there, and 37.5% less energy expenditure. It's really remarkable. Now, Mr. Mohsen, being the first fully dedicated downstream facility in the Middle East and also having a global presence, how were you really able to grow and to expand both locally and globally to become a leading provider of high quality aluminum and aluminum products? And do you have any plans to further grow and expand in the foreseeable future?
Well, thank you very much for giving us this opportunity. Well, since the found of GOMCO back in 1981, we are the first rolling downstream in the Middle East as a rolling. So the market was at that time was really small. So GOMCO from the beginning were directed to be more global, so we can have more product to reach all over the world. So we have adapted the international standards by complying to the regional standards for manufacturing. To be present in a global, you need to have a good quality products, on-time delivery, and competitive price. So we work hard to improve our quality and set up a quality standard that meets the global requirements. And we are also, with our joint venture, with our partner Alba, we are securing our raw materials so we can have, on-time delivery for our customers. Besides that, we have streamed the operation process. We have competitive price, so we can present in the global market as a rolling manufacturing plant. In addition to that, we are increasing our portfolio of products. We are adding new alloys. We are improving in equipment to have a more competitive product in the market that can have an acceptance and to meet the customer needs in the market. With regard to the expansion, well, GOMCO during the last 35 years has went through three phases of expansion. We have increased the production from 60,000 to 120, and then from 120 to 160. And now we are in the process of further expansion to increase our productivity to 200,000 metric ton per annum.
Really incredible expansion plans. Now, Mr. Bakali, Alba is the world's largest aluminum smelter in the world, obviously outside of China. Could you highlight how Alba is really contributing to Bahrain's social and industrial and economic development?
Thank you, Ramia, for giving me the opportunity to talk about Alba and Bahrain in particular. I think it was a wise decision by the leader of Bahrain in 1968 to diversify the economic from oil and gas to other industry like aluminium. And Aluminium Bahrain started production in 1971 with a production of 120,000 metric tons only. Last year, we produced, after commissioning line 6 with EGA technology, we achieved more than 1.5 million tons on 2021. And this year, with the creeping initiative, we are going to achieve, inshallah, above that number this year in 2022. Alba considered like a strategic company in Bahrain. It's contribute to Bahrain GDP almost with all the downstream industry and aluminium sectors. The aluminium industry in Bahrain represent almost 12% of Bahrain GDP, which is a huge in any economy for any other country. If we look at the export, if you exclude the oil and gas export from Bahrain portfolio, you will see that the aluminium export in Bahrain is representing almost 65% of the total export outside Bahrain, which is a huge also in terms of export and logistics. In terms of employment, really Alba and the aluminium sectors also is playing a major role for employment of Bahrainis. Alba employed more than 3,200 employees, and the total downstream, because we established since 1971, and for almost 51 years, we have a good infrastructure for the downstream, and the downstream employed more than 10,000 employees. And we are very proud as an Alba, we have more than 84% Bahrainization level, which is you cannot see it in any other countries, or maybe during our peers also. You will not see 84% Bahrainization level available in this ground. This is the most important value chain for Alba, and really we are contributing a lot to Bahrain economy, and I think we are going also to be a main pillars for Bahrain economy if we also intend to expand more and more, inshallah.
Incredible numbers across the board there. I mean, 1.5 million tons in 2021. You expect to see this increase this year. 12% contribution to GDP, and your Bahrainization numbers are through the roof. So it's very impressive numbers there. Now, Mr. Boram, would you help us understand how Sohar Aluminum is really able to produce quality aluminum efficiently and responsibly by embracing new technologies like automation and robotics and innovation?
I think it's a very important topic. We are talking a lot about digital transformation, and this topic has been really taken very serious here at Sohar Aluminium. As Sohar Aluminium is recognized by all our stakeholders as a company with high quality standards, operational performance excellence within Oman and GCC. We are more and more really implementing new technologies. We have a state-of-the-art asset which helps Sohar Aluminium to keep developing new technologies within higher focus on process improvements. We had here now the latest version for pot control systems, which is the newest systems that really helps to control our process. We have advanced technology on safety for mobile vehicles interfaces, which is also very critical, and we need to really always looking on the safety of our assets and employees. And we also have a real-time process measurements on electrolysis process. Just as an example, I think more and more we have robots that we are implementing. We can see examples, more automation. We are trying really to improve the process based on the technology available, and more we can see the improvements coming from those technologies. So Aluminium is going to keep working with the biggest companies and available technology to make sure that we can be in front of what can be implemented as a technology.
Mr. Abubakar, how is your premium aluminum transforming the real estate and the construction sector in the Middle East?
I'm glad you talked about premium aluminum. We're known for that. In 2021, we produced the highest volume of value-added products, which is premium aluminum than any company worldwide. This means that we're really at the leadership positions when it comes to creating additional value from primary aluminum. Value-added products accounted for about 84% of our total sales last year in 2021. And if you come back to the product itself, aluminum is lightweight but strong, corrosion resistant, and as you know, recyclable. That's why so many of the world's greatest buildings have been constructed using this metal, which we like to call metal of the future. And it is not just in buildings, skyscrapers that make our modern cities possible. It's also used in many things, from family homes, bridges, electrical cables, metro systems. But if you look at just here in Dubai, you've got, for example, Burj Khalifa, which is the tallest building in the world. And they hold the record for the highest installation of aluminum and glass facade in the world. And we were happy to supply them with aluminum during construction. As you know, it's also found in infrastructure for cities and transportation systems. Happy to tell you that our metal also went into EGA's Dubai's metro system, and also the Shinkansen in Japan.
So it's present throughout Dubai and internationally. Now, Mr. Mohsen, could you elaborate on Garmco's Green Initiative and tell us how you're really ensuring efficiency while also being environmentally friendly to contribute to a more sustainable future?
Well, the carbon footprint and sustainability was an important subject for Garmco. So in 2017, we had commissioned state-of-the-art recycling plant. And in the recycling plant, we have taken a lot of consideration the environment. First of all, we have selected the best approved technology based on type of scrap that we are going to use. And we have ensured that all the emission from the recycling plant is going through air pollution control. So the air pollution control is linked with the plants. So we had to have a control emission, a green, I would say, or friendly emission to the environment. In addition to that, we have built a continuous monitoring system for the emission to ensure that all the emission along the time during 24 hours is fully controlled. So that recycling plant have given us an opportunity to utilize the scrap that are available in the market, whether it is post-consumer or pre-consumer scrap. And we have get the certificate of ISO 14021 for green product, and we are proud that 35% of our product contain a recycling content at the moment.
With the latest, that's last month we have finished the ISO 14021, and there the percentage was 35%.
Great accomplishment, sir. Now, Mr. Bakali, how is Alba producing aluminum and aluminum products responsibly and sustainably, and what strategies and initiatives are being put forth to work in compliance with ESG?
For sustainable aluminium productions, definitely we are keeping our safety as a main KPI for us, because we believe that if we have a safe environment, we protect our workers from any accident, this definitely it will reflect directly in our production and sustainability of Alba in the futures. However, for Alba, we are in February, the board of Alba approved the ESG roadmap. And we are the first company in Bahrain having a full roadmap with a clear path how to achieve net carbon zero by 2060 in terms and align with the Bahrain government missions of to achieve net carbon by 2060. A lot of initiatives put in place. There are some quick win initiatives. We capture them directly. Some of them require short-term plan to achieve them. Some of them mid-term, and the others, like the hydrogen and carbon captures, required long-term perspective in order to achieve them. We allocate some budget and capex for them now to implement. But worth to mention that we are the first smelters in the Middle East commissioned the SPL plant, spent pot lining plant. It costs us around $40 million. And the objective of this is not to get money back from this or to make any revenue or profit, just to protect the Bahrain environment. Because in the past, these materials, it's considered like as hazard materials, and it was dumped or given to others users in order to reuse it. But this technology of SPL is to recycle and trade the hazard material of SPL, the spot lining material, to a useful product called high cal. And this high cal material used for cement companies. Also, one of the quick win initiatives, we issue a tender to have a small solar farm in Alba. It's to cover all the parking shades, all the buildings. Alba Club will be completely operated by solars. This is a small initiative. It's a small megawatts, but it will give the impression to our customers, to our community, to our people and shareholders that Alba starting doing a lot of initiative to protect the environment and to be more green. Some of initiatives also, we signed a memorandum of understanding with Mitsubishi Heavy Industry to have the first kind technology trial in the carbon plant, to have a carbon capture and storage in many scales pilot. If this becomes successful, it will be like a new technology developed in the aluminium industry, and it will be expanded further, because this mini project, it will be on small scales of 3 tons of carbon. But the beauty of this cooperation with Mitsubishi Heavy Industry is to have a complete solutions, which means that the carbon which we are going to storage, it will be used for other company to use it as a raw material. And these 3 metric tons on a daily basis, it will be used for the fire extinguishers productions, which means we'll have a complete solution. Also, we are working with the Bahrain government on a high national initiative. They issue a pre-feasibility study to have a main carbon capture plant for all Bahrain to store it in one area, and we are in the feasibility study stage. We are going to sign, inshallah, soon with General Electric also to have an MOU to have a carbon capture trial in our power stations, because you know that the carbon, in the smelters, the main carbon generated from the power station side, because we are using natural gas. These are all some initiatives. We are doing it, and there are a lot of initiatives in the pipeline, but it will take time because the technology is not available at the time being, or they are not commercially available to sell the technology.
It is a really incredible range of initiatives, and zero carbon by 2060 is an ambitious goal, but it seems that Alba is well on its way to achieving that goal. Mr. Boram, how is Sohar Aluminum promoting and supporting the development of the downstream aluminum industry in Oman, which is really helping towards job creation and social development throughout the region?
I think that's really a very important point in terms of why we have Sohar Aluminum here in Oman, and as not only as part of the strategy to diversify out of oil and gas, but also to create jobs, and not only for our business, but also for the downstream. Currently, here in Sohar Aluminum, we supply almost 60% of our total production to the downstream, which is a big amount considering our total production of around 400,000 tons per year. So when there's a downstream, we have a cable, we have a rolling mill, we have a special bus bar, and we have now a new business which is starting, which is wheels, and producing wheels for the world, coming from our metal. So our total number of people just direct on this four business is about 900 people, 900 direct employees. But you know how many people can really work indirectly to our business, but also to the downstream. So SA is contributing not only with the more than 1,500 direct employees and contractors, but also with the local region economy of Alba North. 85% of our employees are from this region. So we do have really a big impact, not only in Sohar, but also in the region that we operate. And as in other companies, we also focus to develop the local people. And basically today we have 78% of Omanis in our workforce, which is also a big amount considering the time that we are operating since 2009. So it's not a long journey for the smelter here in Oman. We also have several CSR projects in the region supported by Sohar Aluminum in cooperation with other two companies, Oman Caboose and Vale. And last year, as an example, we made a contribution of $1 million for the people that were affected by Shaheen cyclone. And as you know, it was really a big hit for the people living in this region. And it was really a good social responsibility response from Sohar.
Excellent CSR initiative there, yes, sir. Now, Mr. Abubakar, could you share your thoughts on how aluminum is really contributing towards diversification of the national economy, and what are your plans for the future of aluminum production?
Yeah, so if you look at diversification, EGA, or at the time Dubai Aluminium, was really part of one of the first earliest waves of diversification in the UAE. I mean, you track back to 1975, and outside oil and gas, the only other company was Salat at the time. That goes back as far as EGA or Dubai Aluminium. And our plant was built at the time when some of the foundational infrastructure projects were also going on, like the Jebel Ali port, which is right next to our plant in Jebel Ali. And really the biggest contribution to the economy is our own business activity. We are the largest industrial company in the UAE outside of oil and gas. Our metal is the biggest made in the UAE export, again, outside of oil and gas. And in 2019, EGA began production of our Al Tawila aluminum refinery. We inaugurated aluminum refining as a new industrial activity in the UAE. Now, in terms of sales, we sell about 10% of our metal to about 26 downstream companies located here in the UAE. which make everything from automotive parts to window frames for local use and export. Each year, we spend about 45% of our total procurement is spent right here in the UAE. That equates to about $1.6 billion that we inject into the yearly into the local economy. The aluminum sector, with obviously EG at the heart, accounts for about 1.5% of the entire UAE economy. And we have a bold aspiration to double our absolute contribution to the economies of the countries in which we operate in by 2040, and steadily improve the quality of our contribution. And we want to do this either through obviously growing these businesses further, buying locally, and obviously employing the locals as well.
So re-injecting profits into the UAE economy and really essentially part of the fabric of the UAE economy alongside oil and gas and Etisalat, of course. Now, Mr. Mohsen, how are your high-quality manufactured aluminum products really able to meet the requirements of your customers?
Well, this is a very important question. First of all, we in GOMCO, we adapt a system that we gather the information once we take the order. So we have a set of questions. Normally, we ask the customer to understand really what the customer needs. So there are a set of questions. Based on this question, we design the product for the customer. That's from order taking side. From the manufacturing side, we are adapting a quality built-in practice. That quality built-in practice is ensuring that the products across the manufacturing process are within our quality standard and meet the international standard for the products. Besides that, we are also using the technology to avoid as much as possible the human interface. So mainly we are taking the information directly to the machine without the human interface. That's reduce the human errors and improve the quality of the product. Besides that, we are also continue upgrading our equipment to match the global needs and the global standards that is growing gradually, day by day. And finally, we continue training. We are training our operator, our engineers to understand the quality requirements and customer needs from selecting of raw material to the end product.
So really a combination of your people and your technology, we could say.
Yeah.
Mr. Bakali, could you share your thoughts on how aluminum is really becoming the most favored metal or the metal of choice across various sectors in the Middle East?
Yes, I totally agree with you. The aluminium is the metal of futures because it is a most susceptible metal for the industry and more sustainable. If you look at why people they prefer aluminium rather than the other materials, because in aluminium you can recycle all the aluminium 100%. There will be some metal loss, but in total you will save in the energy consumptions also, because if you recycle the aluminium, you're going to use only 5% of the energy while you are doing primary smelting, which means this is giving an advantage also for the aluminium. In terms of sectors use the aluminium, definitely cans manufacturing, it's the most popular and the future, because even in Bahrain now we see that there is rules or regulations that prevent or ban importing any plastic water bottles, which means that they are directing all the companies or the industry to use the aluminium cans instead of bottles. And effective from this year, any water bottles, plastic one less than 50 ml, it will not be allowed to import to Bahrain. This is the direction of Bahrain government in order to support the environment and not to use any material which is not sustainable. I think aluminium, it will be the future for every sectors, especially for the automotive sectors, because they want to reduce the carbon emissions. They are using the aluminium as a lightweight. This also support their mission and objective. And I think aluminium, they have a lot of challenges, despite it is a favorable material. But we have a lot of challenges, especially in the Middle East or GCC, since the European and the American, they will impose the carbon tax on the aluminium if we are not reducing our carbon emission to the minimum level of 1 or to 4 ton per metric ton of aluminium. A lot of challenges, but I think all the GCC, they are working on their roadmap in order to comply with these requirements and to produce a green aluminium for the world.
Absolutely. Now, Mr. Abubakar, EGA and Alba have signed an MOU to really deepen technology cooperation. Tell us how EGA is really providing its tech expertise to support Alba's production ambitions.
Yes, thank you. I think, this is an MOU which really is really open in terms of seeking and looking at different avenues that EGA and Alba can really cooperate. Whether it's creeping Alba's potline 6 above and beyond its nameplate design capacity, as well as exploring EGA's technology and know-how in potential future expansions for Alba. This agreement is in line really with the directives of UAE's wise leadership to further the and deepen the brotherly relationships between our two countries. Aluminium Bahrain Alba was EGA's first technology customer, and a landmark, really, a development for a knowledge-based economy here in the UAE. So EGA really looks forward to continuing to apply its technology expertise on a commercial basis, obviously, to support the production ambitions of Alba. Of course, it's up to Alba to comment again on this, but they've, I believe, publicly stated that they're possibly looking into using EGA's technology for the brownfield expansion of potline 7. So really the goal is we want to be the technology supplier of choice in the industry, with technology as a growing revenue stream for EGA, as well as providing a competitive advantage for our own operations.
I think you're well on your way to doing so, and congratulations to all of you on the success that you've seen in the aluminum industry. And on that, I'd like to conclude today's conversation. On behalf of Forbes Middle East, I would really like to thank our exclusive partners, Alba, and I would also like to thank all of our panelists for sharing with us your insights on your businesses and on the aluminum industry. We appreciate everyone's time, so a big thank you to all of the viewers joining us this afternoon. Thanks very much, and goodbye.